and welcome to another edition of the MMK Show, where we talk about India sourcing and e commerce topics that matter to you. And today we're talking about a very, very important topic that is Marg and my least favorite topic, but it's so important to run a successful Amazon business, and that's PPC. And we've got Mina Elias from Trivium Group joining us for this very important session. Hi, Mina. How are you doing today?
Awesome, awesome. How are you guys doing?
Great,
Doing
man. Great
Yeah,
fantastic,
to have
doing
you on the
great.
show, mate. Yeah, welcome.
I'm excited. Thank you guys so much for having me. And of course, we're going to talk about everyone's favorite thing today. That everyone loves to hear about, which is Amazon PPC.
Yes, and so very excited that Mina, you're going to actually do a real demo. Like you're going to go into your Amazon account, the back end, and show people what exactly you do in the entire process. So that's going to be very interesting. And then of course you have got like spreadsheets, and you're going to show like you're going to do like a deep dive into numbers and data and all. And guys watching, if you have any questions, of course, type them in the comments. Mina will be answering any questions that you might have as well. So, Mina, before we get started, do you want to give an introduction and tell people about yourself, your background, and how did you fall in love with PPC?
Yes, for sure. Fall in love with PPC. Very, very strange sentence there.
Yeah, love and PPC don't go well together in
Yeah,
one
I don't think
sentence.
so. So I started in so I'm a chemical engineer. I graduated in 2014 with my bachelor's. Worked in corporate. I worked for a very big 9 to 5, like a $30 billion company. Very very corporate, as big as it gets. And I didn't like it. I moved from one job to the next, and I was constantly kind of trying to improve my career, but I felt like this is not what I wanted to be doing. And I always had a passion for supplements. I'm an MMA fighter also, so I wanted to kind of create something that for me to use and that I could share with other people, and something that was not on the market. And so I created my first supplement, and it was a supplement brand, MMA Nutrition. We're actually gonna check out the account today, and I started trying to sell it at the gyms and the stores, and it wasn't working out. I was like, I can't do this like full time 9 to 5 and then try and like sell my products, walking from place to place after work. So I decided to get it on Amazon because that's where I was buying all of my products, and a few other things happened, right? And so I got on Amazon, and I became super obsessed with Amazon. I watched every single video, every single webinar, every single podcast, every single anything out there. I was calling agencies, getting the employees on the phone, having full on conversations with them, and eventually, like, the business started working out. And I think 6 months in, I was making $4,000 a month in profits. I got fired from my job, and I decided, let's just do this full time. So I did it full time. I grew the brand. I started a couple other brands because of shiny object syndrome, but I started sharing more and more about PPC because the only way I could beat the competition, the supplements that had like 10,000 reviews and 5,000 reviews, and were really big brand names, was I was like targeting like super long tail keywords, and I was just like doing everything I could. I noticed that PPC and reviews were the two main things that kind of changed the sales for me. Like, more I got reviews, my sales went up. The more I messed around and I spent on PPC, the more my sales got up. So I really focused as much as I could on the PPC side, and I started getting good. People started asking questions in the groups, and I just started giving back information. And before you knew it, I started becoming like a quote unquote like a expert at PPC, which I'm not. I'm just someone who did it a lot. I just a very very well practiced. And then in 2021, an aggregator hit me up, and they wanted me to build their in-house PPC team. And so they put me up against 6 other agencies, and they said, we want to test you against these other agencies to see if you really know what you're talking about before building our team. And I ended up beating the agencies, and I outperformed them. And so that's when Trivium Group started, and I decided to start my own, PPC business. And so Trivium Group is essentially an advertising partner. So we're like a team, and we integrate into your team. So you have, like, you guys are a sourcing team, right? We're just an advertising team. So we're in a group chat together every day. We're like an employee, but you just use us part time, right? Because no one needs 40 hours a week of four employees or 5 employees doing PPC. So that's kind of what we do, is we integrate with the team, And I've taken like a very systematic approach to PPC. So very data driven, very numbers driven, very heavily systems driven, and you know, getting a clear vision on the analytics, analyzing what's going on, looking at the entire picture, click-through rate and conversion rate and everything, and then you know, continuously optimizing. So that's my story and how I got into PPC and why I talk so much about it now. I think it works because I'm an engineer and like I'm used to spreadsheets and numbers all the time. And so when I just like started looking at these spreadsheets and numbers, I started recognizing the patterns, and I said, hey, like you know, this is cool. I like this.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, so let's get started, Mina. I mean, how do you want to start? Do you want to straight away share your screen, or do you want to just talk about
Yeah.
things first?
So
Over to you.
yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm just closing this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to give you a little bit of like an overview first on what we're gonna cover, and so we're all on the same page, and then I'm gonna dive right into the account. So the first thing is we need to all be on the same page of what is the reason that we're running ads. The reason that we're running ads is because we're trying to drive as many people as possible to our listing in the cheapest way possible. So there's a couple of ways of getting people to our listing. There's ads. There's if you show up organically in you know, and because you show up organically and people are already searching, they're coming in. Or if you do like external traffic, right? If you find people from somewhere else and send them to Amazon to convert. So if we focused on just the Amazon side of stuff, which is the PPC and the organic, the entire goal is we're either going to invest in our organic ranking and get our organic ranking higher so more people can come into the listing for free because that's the lowest cost, or we're going to spend money on ads in the most efficient way possible to bring people into the listing and then they can convert. So that's the goal of the ads. Just so we're all clear, and that's why we're running ads, is to bring people in. Now, because I said we want to bring people in the cheapest way possible, it's going to be very, very important for us to understand, you know, the cost of the conversion. So how much is it costing us to bring people into the listing, and then how much is it going to cost us to actually convert? So let's say it's costing you $1 to bring one person into the listing. If your conversion rate is 25%, you need 4 people to convert. So that's, you know, $4 per conversion. So the two things that we can change here is either make it, instead of $1 per person, like a half a dollar per person, or instead of making it we need 4 people to convert, we can make it we need 2 people to convert by making your conversion rate 50%. So understanding that it's just a simple equation really helps us break it down and say it's not just like I launched the campaign and what's going on, because I'm going to cover the systems now, and the systems are going to be the same. There's a certain set of things that you can do to cut down the spend, and there's a certain set of things you can do to increase you know, profitable sales. So maybe launching more keywords that are profitable, or spending more money on the top of search where you're going to be more profitable. So there's only those levers you can pull. But if you can understand all of the segments, which is like, okay, I'm spending money, how many people are coming, how many clicks am I getting versus how many sessions am I getting, and all that stuff, then you really know where you can hone in on. So now that we covered this, I'm going to do 2 things today. The first thing is I'm going to go through like the cost of conversion calculator. I'm going to go into my account, and I'm going to go into that the spreadsheet will be available to everyone. You know, Megla, you can blast it out to everyone at the end. But basically, we're going to go through my metrics and see how much does it cost for me to convert, and then what if I improved my conversion rate, or what if I cut down my PPC spend a reasonable way. And then, because if my PPC spend is $1,000 and I need to cut it down to 500, it's probably not likely that my sales are going to stay. But if it's 500 and if it's 1,000, I need to cut it down to like 800, something like just a little bit. It's fine. It's possible. So that's the first thing that I want to cover. And then the second thing that I want to cover is we're going to go and do like a live audit of my account. So I'm going to identify everything that's in the account, and I'm going to say, okay, you know, here, this is the issues with the portfolios, this is the issues with the campaign names, this is the budgets, all of this stuff. And so you can go in and you can audit your own account and figure out where are all the areas that you can improve. And then the final step will be, once we have all of that, let's talk about what are the levers that you can pull. So it's the bulk sheet optimization, it's this, it's that, all with one goal, and it's to bring down that cost per session into the listing. And so number one, we're going to understand what are the levers we can pull, but then number two, we also can monitor what's happening. So don't just like launch a bunch of campaigns and optimize bids, and then you're not looking at your spend and your sales and your conversion rate and all this stuff, because then it's not going to make sense. So let's share the screen. Amazing. So this is my cost of conversion calculator.
Do you want to zoom in a bit because it's too small?
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, I'll make
Can
it
everybody see the screen? Do you want to just let us know in the comments if you can see the screen clearly? Yeah, but keep going.
Cool. So I'm gonna begin filling this out. PPC spend is basically I'm gonna pick a period of time and say, okay, how much am I spending in terms of money? What are my sessions? And then how much is it costing me per session? So if I spent $1,000 and I got 250 sessions, that means I'm spending $4 per session. What is my conversion rate? Let's say it's 30%. That means I need 3.33 people, 3.33 sessions to convert one person. And so, simple calculation, 4, which is the cost per session, times 3.33 makes it 13.33. That's the cost for one conversion. Now, the sale price is, let's say, $40. Amazon fees is $10. Cost of goods is $10. That leaves me with $20 profit per unit. Assuming that my current cost for conversion is 13.33, I'm left with $6.67 in net profit. So that's great. But what if we were like this, right? $30, and this is our fees, or this is, I'll tell you, this is like a little bit more realistic, like in terms of this is kind of like more realistic. Like that's pretty close to my COGS. That's pretty close to my Amazon fees. This is pretty close to my sale price. So if this was the case, there's a few things we have to look at first. So is it our PPC spend that's too high? Is it our sessions that are too low? Or is it our conversion rate that's too low? So if I took this conversion rate and I made it 40%, now I'm making $4.6. What if I took this PPC spend and I made it $800? Now I'm making 6.6. So this is kind of the way that you should be thinking about it. The final thing that's also missing here is the clicks and sessions ratio. So if you're getting, we'll say sessions here, and then we'll say clicks. If you have 500 sessions and it's coming through 1,000 clicks, and your cost per click is, let's say, 0.8, then you're spending $800, right? You're spending $800 to get 500 sessions. But what if you could, why are you getting 2 clicks per session, right? Why is the same person clicking twice? What if you could get 800 sessions, for those 1,000 clicks? It would make a huge difference for you, because for 500 sessions, it would actually cost you a lot less, or like, let's say for 400 sessions, it would only need 500 clicks. And in this case, you're spending only $400. So that's the only other metric that you should look at. So to summarize again, you have what you're spending now, which we can go in and say, okay, let's look at just the regular last 30 days of, we'll do the blue RAS. So 560.41 in spend. So we can go 560.41. And then we're going to go to Seller Central. We're going to go into reports, business reports. We're going to go to detail page by parent. You can do parent or child, whatever. It depends on how your campaigns are structured. And I'm going to look at the blue RAS. So blue RAS is, I think it's this one. Yep. It's this one. So in the last 30 days, we got 713 sessions. So I'm going to put 713 sessions. So that's 0.79 per session. My conversion rate, also found in the business reports, it's my unit session percentage. So 33.1 plus 0.84. So I need 2.95 sessions for one conversion. So my cost per conversion is 2.32. This is, I think this is my cogs. So, sorry. So we're selling for 27.95. My Amazon fees, um, we're gonna go grab them from the inventory. 8.71, so I was pretty close. So I'm making $10 and 17 cents per unit after ads. Now, if we look at this number, it's $560. So like it's not likely that this number is going to go down that much, because if this number went to 500, then I'm making 10.42, right? So it's not likely that this number is going to go down. I'm probably going to have to scale at this level, but it's more likely that I might be able to get this up to 40%, and then I'll be able to make more money. So that's one thing that we can like notice right away here. The second thing is I want to look at the number of clicks versus sessions. So we had 713 sessions here. Let's look at the number of clicks. So 231 clicks. So basically what this is telling me is that we're getting a lot more organic sessions than we are getting from PPC. So this is a good sign. The ratio here is 3. So we're getting 3 times as many people visiting the listing than we are getting clicks from PPC. So this is a healthy ratio. If this ratio started dipping under 1, then I would know that I have too many people clicking on multiple ads, right? Or I might be cannibalizing my organic. So I might be showing up high organically, but also spending on PPC. So that's the first thing that I wanted to cover. Guys, please do this for your own stuff. And if you notice that this number is like really low, then you can go ahead and say, okay, what if like this PPC spend went down, or what if I got more sessions? So if this 560 got me 1,000 sessions, it got me more sessions, now I'm able to make more money or not. So in this case, because it's like the numbers are so close, we're not going to see a huge difference here. But if this number was 1,500, then we start seeing like a big shift here. So that's what we have to kind of start paying attention to. Is it your PPC spend that's inhibiting you, or is it your conversion rate that's inhibiting you, or are you overspending on PPC by having too many clicks for each session? Okay, so that's number one. We covered that. That will allow you to kind of see things a lot more clearly and kind of like calculate things before doing anything. The second thing is, I'm gonna go through the account audit, but one thing I want to kind of point out. Let me see here. Okay, Miguel, I'm gonna share a different screen.
Okay, sure. And guys, let us know if you have any questions, or if this is making sense.
Yeah,
If you
if
have any
it's guys,
questions,
if you
just let us
please,
know.
I know this is a little bit crazy, but if you have questions,
Yeah.
like shoot it. So the other thing is, we need to make sure that we are monitoring what's going on. And so first thing is we figured out, okay, sessions and is it my conversion rate or is it my PPC that needs improvement? Before we start making improvements, I want to start seeing that what the improvements that I'm making are, and then what the effect is. So if you can easily build this, right? You take a screenshot from this webinar and do this in Excel. But basically, like if I see my PPC spend go up, remember the main goal of PPC is to drive as many people to the listing as cheap as possible. So the first thing that I'll look at is, okay, I want to see that my sessions went up. So in this case, we spent 87% more on ads. We only got 1% more on sessions. So this is not a good indicator. It's basically saying, we're spending more, but we're not getting more people in. Now, what I would expect to happen in this case is our cost per session is going to go up. So whatever our cost per session was that last week, it's going to go up this week. Just one thing to keep in mind though, I always notice that there is a lag. So what happens is you'll see we started increasing the spend. So we were in the double digits and we started hitting the triple digits. And it did take a few days before we ramped up to 103. So this is now well in the hundreds. As you can see, we kind of doubled or almost tripled the ad spend, and it took a while for us to increase the session. So that's one thing that I see commonly with Amazon ads is it takes a few days. There's like almost a delay. Like if you go from spending $50 a day to spending $200 a day, maybe like 4 5 a week later, then you're gonna start noticing the effects, which is weird. I don't know why, but this I always notice this. So always be patient. If you don't get the result right away, give it 7 days. If it hasn't budged in 7 days, then maybe it's not working out. So the goal is to kind of always be cognizant. If we're launching ads, yeah, we want our sales to go up, and yeah, we care about our PPC sales, but the main goal of ads is the sessions. And then if we're monitoring our conversion rate, we should notice that the conversion rate is not changing. If you start launching a lot of campaigns and then you notice that your conversion rate is dropping, it might be either the ads are not that relevant, or they're relevant, but you're not converting well for those ads, or the fact that at scale you're not performing. And this happens a lot. So sometimes someone's spending $1,000, $2,000 a month, and their conversion rate's 40%. And then when we take them to $8,000 or $10,000 a month, their conversion rate drops. It's like there's nothing you can do about it. That's how I'm pretty sure any business is like that. The bigger, the more you scale, you have to kind of get broader, right? But it's something to keep in mind, because that's also going to affect your cost per session, right? Because it's part of the equation. So you always have to keep an eye out on the equation. And I'll talk about how we can kind of affect the conversion rate. You know how to improve it, right? Is the price, the reviews, the main image, other images, all that kind of stuff, enhanced brand content, whatever is in the listing.
In fact, that's a question. Sorry, there's a question from Christine about this. What would you do to improve the conversion rate? It already seems higher than the average.
Okay, so this one, this one I just pulled a random one. This is one that has a very loyal customer following. So they're coming in and they're purchasing right away, and so their conversion rate seems crazy, and they're buying like multiple units. But the factors that affect the conversion rate are things like the main image, the other images, the reviews, the price, title, bullet points, description, enhanced brand content, deals and lightning deals and 7-day deals, any coupons. If you have really good questions on the listing that answers everyone's objections, that will help too. That's kind of the main ones. If you're consistently trying to improve those, you'll probably improve your conversion rate. So that's what you can do to focus on the conversion rate. But on the sessions, right, on the cost per session, there's like a few things that we'll cover in a bit that you can like affect the cost per session. The actions that we can take in the campaign manager is optimizing bids. So we can either cut down the bids for things that are not so profitable, high ACOS, things that are spending and not getting sales, or we can increase the bids. Increasing the bids should get us more sessions, right? So it goes into one of the two categories: cutting down the spend per session or getting us more sessions at the current spend level that we like. So again, optimizing bids, that's one. We can add negatives, that's another one. Obviously, any keyword, we can go into the search term report. If it's auto or broader phrase and we can't just lower the bid, we can identify those keywords. If they're kind of high ACOS or spending and not making any sales, we can take those, we can cut them down. We can add them as negatives. Bid by placement. If you're performing a lot better in a certain placement, we can increase the bid by placement so you can show up more for that placement, and so your performance can be more consistently in line with that better performance. So if you're performing way better in the top of the search than the rest of the search, which a lot of products are like that. Like I just went through some products today that were hangers, and they were the click-through rate in the rest of search was 0.8, and then top of search was something like anywhere between 5 to 13% click-through rate, which is incredibly high. The ROAS was 4 in the rest of the search, and it was anywhere between 8 to 15 at the top of the search. So that tells us that they're consistently performing way better at the top of the search, and this is something that we can do, not to cut down on the spend, but we can get more profitable sales that way. So you have like I said, two actions. You can either cut down or you can add, but profitably. So the bid by placement will add profitably. increasing the budgets will allow you to get more sessions, of course. And I think that's pretty much it. I think we covered that's everything that we can do. The only other thing that remains is the multiple placements. Now, the multiple placements is a double-edged sword. So I'm talking sponsor brand, display, and video, and headline search, because those ones they can have the good side of them, which if you put them on there, they can get new clicks. People that usually wouldn't click, they might click on those ones, and they're usually cheaper. Now, the double-edged sword is if you're already showing up organic, if you're already showing up sponsored, and you show up with a sponsored brand or display or video, now you can have the same person clicking twice because they searched the keyword and they got two of your ads. And then they might have seen they might have seen your headline search ad, your top of search ad, and your video ad, and then gone into another product and seen your display ad. So one person on their shopping journey could click on you 4 times, and we start seeing that now the cost per session went up because it's the same session, but he or she are costing us more money by clicking on more of our ads. So again, very important to kind of have a clear view of what's going on. If you're spending more money, you want to see your sessions go up. You want to see your conversion rate and click-through rate stay stable. If the goal is to launch more campaigns, then we're looking at that cost per click to stay the same. But if we're looking to optimize and cut down and add negatives and all that stuff, we're looking for that cost per click to go down. Total ACOS is a good indicator of like how much percent of your revenue you're spending on ads. It's again, not the end all be all. It's just a good indication. Then the end all be all is the dollar amount in profits. So ultimately, that's the number that you want to monitor. But sometimes you have to kind of have a delayed gratification, which is say, I'm willing to sacrifice some of the profits now for better returns in the future. And that's where you kind of start investing in the PPC spend, and it goes up and up and up, and you watch your sessions go up, 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 and your profits are going down because you're probably spending a little bit inefficiently, but it's fine because you're investing in your organic ranking. And then you get to a point where you're like, okay, now it's time to kind of trim down the fat, and you decide, okay, let's start doing those actions that cut down the spend, which is the optimizing the bids, like lowering the bids for anything that has a high ACOS or spend and no sales. Let's add negatives. Let's pause anything that's like a non-performing or anything like that. So those are the actions that you would start taking in the cases like, okay, we launched really high, now let's cut back down and let's see how much of those sessions we can maintain. So we went, let's say, from 633 to 1,200. How much can we maintain of those sessions but cut down all of the unnecessary spend? And if we can cut down the unnecessary spend more than we lose sessions, then you've kind of achieved a new level, right? You've increased and then you cut back down, and now you achieved a new level of sessions, and you also achieved a new level of profits. So that's the kind of the second part, right, of the understanding your equation. Second part is monitoring what's happening before you do it, because you don't want to kind of go in blind. You want to say, okay, I know my equation. I can afford to spend $5 to get a customer. I have $15. I want $10 profit at the end. So I can, I can spend $5, and then, okay, now you don't know what's happening. Did you launch campaigns? The PPC spend went up. What happened? What's your exact number of session growth and all that kind of stuff? So it's good to monitor. And then now I'm going to go into the final part, which is the audit. So let's audit. If I were to go into your campaign manager, here's what I would look at, and here's what I would do, and then move on to what's a consistent and steady state process. Once everything is clean, what should be done every single week?
Mina, should you do this just weekly or daily? How often should people stop and look at this? Is it too much to do it every day, or what's
I look at the analytics once a week. So I think looking at anything daily is hurtful, because it's like a snapshot, and it's like there's a lot of like attribution delays, and there's a lot of things that happen that, like, maybe one day something happened, right, and things went a little bit lower. So it's not great to look at it every single day, but over 7 days I look at it and I say, okay, here's what happened over the course of 7 days. We increased spend by 10%, we increased sessions by 15%, great. Or we cut down PPC by 10% and sessions went down by 25%, not so good. or conversion rate dipped, or stuff like that. So I would look at it week by week, and so every week I'm looking at it. The actions that we're performing though don't have to be every single week. So they should be at a minimum every week, but they could be every 3 days. Like every 3 days, we're saying let's give it a little bit of a nudge, because I don't necessarily want to go from here to here in one day. I might just want to go from here to here in 3 days, and then from here to here in another 3 days, and it'll get us closer because it's more gentle nudges as opposed to more aggressive nudges, if that makes sense. So instead of cutting down the bid from $1.20 to 80 cents, I want to cut the bid from $1.20 to $1, and then $1 to 80 cents, that way over 2 periods of time instead of 1 period of time.
So do you take notice of the Amazon's recommended bid for each keyword?
No,
You know how they put, like it might be $1 today, and next Monday it might be $1.30, or depending on people around you. So do you look at that, or you don't?
I don't usually look at that. What I do is, it's always like this. Whenever we're starting, we're shooting in the dark, and we're figuring out where we are. So we don't know where we are at all, but I'll say, okay, what's Amazon suggested? The range is between $1, $3. If Amazon's range is between $5 and $13, I'm not gonna go, halfway. But if it's between $1 and $3, say, okay, let's start at $2. If I'm comfortable with $2, I might be only comfortable with $1.20. So I'll start where I'm comfortable, and then I'll look at the data. Did I get enough impressions? Did I get enough clicks? And then if I'm not getting enough impressions or clicks, let's increase the bids. If I am, then okay, cool. Let's wait and get enough clicks and enough spend, and then make a decision. And usually my tolerance is like 1.5 times my target cost per acquisition. So if I can spend $5 to acquire a customer, then I'm willing to wait until $7.50. After $7.50 and no sales, then I'm getting to a point where it's like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. So if I haven't reached that threshold, then I'm always increasing the bids to get there. Even if I started a little bit too low, it's fine. But if I already reached that threshold of I spent $7.50 and I didn't make any sales, then I'm like, okay, it is what it is. I can't, like, spending 2 times my cost per acquisition is not gonna make it justify it for me.
So in that case, if you want to stop, I suppose, bidding on a keyword, some people say you should never just take it out. It gives Amazon a signal. Do you believe that, or should you just put it down to 2 cents, or should you just go inactive on that keyword?
So if it's exact, I will just keep lowering the bids, because you never know. It might get to a point where on page 5, someone gets there and then clicks and converts, or no one clicks on it and it's as if it's off, right? If it's exact, so we can control the bid. But if it's auto or broader phrase, we don't have that luxury. So we're going to have to negative it.
Okay. So it doesn't harm it to negative it. Like, cause quite a few people say, oh, you should never do that. And I used to do it. And then now I go, oh, should I do that or not? Because somebody said, oh no, you're making, Amazon think you don't want to use that keyword anymore. It's not relevant. But,
I'm not sure about that. And I can't comment on what Amazon thinks it doesn't think, but
yeah.
I can say that if it's exact, that's fine. You have the luxury of dropping it down. But if it's auto, if you're targeting electrolyte powder, and then inside there's like electrolyte powder for elderly, as a keyword, and you're not converting because you have your Pedialyte, for example, then there's nothing you can do, because if you lower the bid, you're just making everyone else lose, except for it's just that one keyword that we want to get rid of. So just adding it as a negative is what I would do.
Okay. Just got another question. Does the go on, Megal, you do it.
No, go for it.
Yeah, I was just gonna
jump to the campaign manager while we answer the question.
Yeah, so there's one comment from Gail. I hate PPC, but this has helped, I think. Can we have the spreadsheets to help, and maybe the rates, etc., that we should be looking at, please? So I guess we can share the spreadsheets later, right?
Yeah, I'll share the spreadsheets. In terms of rates, there's no rates. There's no right or wrong rates. There's just the direction of improvement, right? So if your conversion rate's 20%, your goal is to get it to 30, 40, 50, 60. If your PPC spend per session is $5, the goal is to get it to 4, 3, 2, 1. So, but there's no right or wrong number. It's just, it's like you want to be making more money and you want to be spending less money. That's pretty much it. That's all right.
That's how we all would like it.
Okay, does the Amazon ad algorithm take time to learn like some other platforms?
That's a good question. I'm not sure, but we have noticed this is keywords in campaigns that have been around for a long time perform a lot better than new campaigns. So this could be that, like, their like learning phase, right? This could be their learning phase, because I've seen, like, if you have a keyword that's been in a campaign for a year, and then you're like, oh, let me just put it in its own campaign. And I've done this mistake before, and I paused it, put it in a new campaign, and the new campaign performs really horribly. And I'm like, what the hell? And then I turn it back in the old campaign and it performs beautifully again. And so this could be, I don't know if it's because of the history or because of it's learned, but I know Facebook has a learning phase. And we know about that, but I don't know about Amazon if it has a learning phase. But I know that keywords that have aged longer, or campaigns that have aged longer, perform better generally.
Right. So should I share your screen again, Mina? Now?
Yes.
Same. Okay.
Please. Okay, so now we're gonna jump into like a campaign audit. So I'm gonna go through the campaign manager step by step. I'm gonna cover kind of all of the different pieces and what I'm usually looking at, when I'm auditing something. So the first thing is I'll look at the portfolios. I want to make sure that every product has its own portfolio. If you have variations and you're gonna target the variations in the same campaign, and a lot of people ask me, should I do this or should I split? I'll answer that in 1 second. So let's say you have two colors, blue and green, and you have one like a parent ASIN and two child variations, and you're going to put them in the same campaigns. Just keep them in the same portfolio, because if they're not in separate campaigns, there's no point in having them in separate portfolios, because then you don't know which portfolio to put the campaign if both of them are in that campaign. So kind of whatever the campaign structure is in terms of products, it's going to be the same as the portfolios. But the best thing about the portfolios is I can very quickly, at a snapshot, identify, like, what's happening and what's going on. So this is what's going on with this product. This is what's going on with that product. It's very easy to kind of to see what's going on. So okay, we'll go back to here. Now that's the first thing. I'm looking at the portfolios. The second thing is I'm gonna go look at the campaign names. If anyone's ever optimized a bulk sheet, and this is, you go here, click on bulk operations, download the bulk sheet. The bulk sheet is a summary, and hopefully we have some time to go through it. Bulk sheet is a summary of all of the campaigns in one place. Now, the problem with the bulk sheet is that you cannot sort by product. You can't say, I want to show this product, show me the campaigns that are related to this product. Unfortunately, you can't do that. You can't even sort by portfolio. The only thing is you can sort by campaign name. So as you can see here, I have the product name right at the beginning, HBR space Hydrolite Blue Raz, or Hard Work Blue Raz. And I try and have all of the different indicators of what this campaign is. So is it a broad? Is it a phrase? Is it an exact? Where it came from? Is it product targeting? Is it a close match, loose match, complement, substitute? Whatever it is, you can see like all of the campaigns here. Broad, Amazon suggested, based on search term report, category. So just kind of everything here. And the name should be very easy to identify what the product is and what the what's in this campaign. After that, I'm looking at budgets. Small budgets are a problem, because let's say you have 5 keywords in one campaign, and then in that campaign the cost per click is $1, so you're averaging about $5 for all of them to get 1 click. If you have a $10 budget, that Amazon says, okay, you have available 2 clicks for total for all of the keywords, so you're really not giving it any room. Now people usually try and control the spend through the budgets, because that's how you do it on Facebook. I don't think that that's the right way. I think the right way is if you have really big budgets and small bids, and then you can control your spend based on the bids. So if I have $1,000 or $50,000 budget, and my cost per click, let's say, is $2.13. In this case, because I feel like my 4.62 ROAS is great. This is obviously branded. I say spend as much money as possible to get me more sales at that rate. Because in this case, for me, I believe that that cost per click and that ROAS, I can spend as much as I want. Now the problem is you're going to get limited by the bid. So if I have $100 bid and a $100 budget and a $1 bid, then I'm only going to spend as much as that $1 bid, because that $1 bid could be on page 2. So if you're on page 2, you're only going to get a certain number of people, and there's other people also bidding to be on page 2, and there's only limited inventory, and so Amazon's going to kind of spread that in the bid. If you bid 50 cents, you're probably not going to show up at all, and so that's how you control the spend, as opposed to using the budgets. So that's the next thing I'm looking at. If your budgets are low, raise them up. If you're worried about them overspending, first of all, if the ROAS is good, don't worry about them overspending. Let them overspend, right? Because if you make me $1 million, like if I can spend $1 million, then I would make $4.62 million. Amazing. I'll spend $1 million, no problem. So that's the next thing I'll look at. Then I'm going to open up, a couple campaigns here. This is abroad. This is exact. Okay, cool. This is good enough for now. So the next thing is I'm going to go and look at the placements. So the placements here, we're going to see, okay, ROAS here is 2.79, ROAS here is 8.25 and 1.96. So at the product pages placement, my ad is performing way better. So as a result, I want to add a bit of adjustment here, because I want to signal to Amazon I'm willing to spend more money to show up at this position, because when I show up at this position, I get a much better return on ad spend. So meanwhile, like here, when I showed up, I spent $1, I made $2. Here, when I showed up, I spent $1, I made $8. So I want to spend more money, and I'm willing to bid higher to show up there. You'll notice one thing though, that generally the click-through rate is a lot better at the top of the search, but sometimes you have to look at like what's going to make you more sales. So in this case, this is making more sales. If you notice that the ROAS here is lower, but the sales are higher and the click-through rate is higher, it might be worth spending more on the top of the search, because it's better to get 100 sales at a 3x ROAS than to get 5 sales at an 8x ROAS, right? Because you're going to you're going to have less profit, less percent profit, but you're going to make more total money. And so that's the goal, is to make the more total money. So that's the next thing I look at. Then I look at the ad groups. So if you have multiple ad groups, the problem is we can only set the budget at the campaign level. And so if you have like 2 ad groups, you don't know if that $100 is going $50 here, $50 there, or it's got $80 here, $20 there. So I hate to see a lot of ad groups. This kind of like, we don't know. Is Amazon sending all of the money to one or the other? We can't control it. If we can't control it, we can't accurately, optimize. Then I'm gonna dive in here. I'm looking at the targets. So this is probably not a good one because it has too many targets, but it's a good example, right? So this is branded. Probably the reason why we decided to put in that many targets, but usually it should be a lot less. But in this case, I'm looking at how many keywords, and you'll see here when I notice this happen. So this is a perfect example, right? Because it's even happening in my stuff, and I need to audit my team better. But you'll notice that like when you have a lot of keywords, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 of them are spending money, getting impressions, and the rest aren't. Now, I'm not 100% sure if this is because we made these keywords up and they actually don't have any search volume. No one's actually typing hydrolyte like this and electrolytes like this, because this is like a double misspelling. So, but generally what you're going to notice is when you have a lot of keywords in a campaign, you're going to notice a lot of them don't have impressions and don't have clicks. If this is the case, in the last 30 days, they didn't have impressions or clicks, just turn them off, because they're as if they're not even running, and create new campaigns with those keywords. Okay, so that's the next thing that I'm looking at, is the number of keywords. Then obviously we can go into the ACOS. So if I notice that there's certain keywords with higher ACOS, that's where the optimization comes in. We want to kind of like cut down the bids a little bit. And if I'm noticing that like some stuff is spending and not making me any sales, again, my tolerance is 2.5 times my target cost per acquisition. So figure out what your cost per acquisition is based on here. In this case, you have a $12.49 profit margin. So if I were to spend $6, I'd be left with $6 with $8.49. I'm okay with that. Or sorry, if I spent $6, I would be left with $6.49. If I'm okay with that, then I'll say, okay, I'm okay spending, 1.5 times that, which is $9 and something to acquire a customer. So in this case, when I go look here, if that number hits 9 and it didn't convert, I'll turn it off. So there's that. We can jump into the search terms. There's 2 quick ways we can start filtering through things. First thing is, if it has a good ROAS, let's say greater than 3x, and you can determine whatever is a good ROAS for you. This means that we're already targeting it. These ones we're not targeting them. Hydrate powder, MMA nutrition, sugar free. This is a customer search term, and we basically got a conversion at a 20% ACOS for that keyword. Or hydrolyte tablets, 8.73 ACOS, when we converted there. So these are keywords we're not targeting. We want to target. So that's the next thing that I would look at. Just make sure that you're not already targeting it. So don't have duplicates. And then the final thing that I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at things that didn't make any sales. I'm going to say, okay, what's the spend here? Okay, so the most expensive one is MMA Nutrition, Electrolyte. It spent $5 and didn't make any sales. So if I have ones that spent too much and didn't make any sales, I can just check on them and then add them as a negative keyword. So to stop spending on them. Same thing with here, I'm looking at the ad groups, looking at the targets, looking at the placements. If we look at the placements in this case, we're performing better in the rest of the search. Click-through rate is higher in the rest of the search. So we might as well not do anything. So in this case, I would probably just do this and remove this because it's not performing well. Go back to the ad groups, open up the ad groups. I want to check that I don't have any keywords. So there's only one keyword here that is like not getting any impressions. So that's good. Everything else is getting spend and impressions. So that's fine. I don't need to turn anything off. Anything that has a high ACOS. So for example, like this one over 100% ACOS, I'm looking to kind of cut down the bids, and I'll do it iteratively. And you can do all of this in the bulk sheet. So this was 249. I might just go to 240, right? And hopefully get it a little bit closer and closer and closer. And if I do that every 3 days, eventually it'll get to a good point. And then, I'm looking at the search terms. Sorry, what has a good ROAS? Okay, let's look here. These ones all have a good ROAS. I'm only targeting this one. All of these are keywords that I could be targeting. Now, again, the trick is make sure that you're not already targeting these in other campaigns. But what you can do is you can take these, extract them. This is the keyword that we were targeting. This is the customer search term that showed up that we converted on. I would take those and launch them in their own campaigns. And then same with the negatives, filter orders equals 0. So these are all the ones that kind of spent and didn't make me any money. I'm going to look at the spend here. So $168 in spend in the last 30 days with no sales. So these ones, remember I said 9 is my tolerance. So, okay, these ones are all, not good. So all I can do is just add them as a negative exact. The only time I would use negative phrase is in the case that, like, for example, I'm advertising for a card holder and I get a vaccine card holder. Vaccine has nothing to do with a card holder. This is a credit card holder, nothing to do with the vaccine. So I would negative phrase vaccine. So don't show me for anything that has the word vaccine in it. But in this case, maybe Gatorade endurance powder is not good, but maybe Gatorade electrolytes I can convert on. So in this case, because there's no really strong reason to completely negative the word Gatorade or the word endurance or the word powder, I'm just gonna add them as negative keywords. And that's it. That's how I would do the full account audit.
Okay, we've got a couple of questions. So, and just saying, do you believe in PPC tools that help you adjust the bids based on calculations, or is it better to do it all manually?
So I prefer to do it all manually or all like semi-automatically. So semi-automatically means if you can take all of your keywords and say, if this is the range, I want you to cut down the bids by this much. If this is the range, cut it by this much. If this is the range, and you can do it like that, then you can do it. You can basically what will take you hours if you're doing keyword by keyword manually, you can do it in 5 minutes, right? But I don't believe in software with automation where you set the rules and you let it run on its own, because like everything's always changing and you don't know, like sometimes these rules applied like a month ago, they don't apply anymore. Maybe you have to do something differently. And again, the main goal is you're going to take action, and then you're going to look at your analytics, and then you're going to compare, okay, I took these actions, this is what happened in my account, now let's take some new actions. Instead of let's just keep taking the same actions week in and week out. I mean, then I would be a billionaire in the stock market, right? I just say buy when it's low and sell when it's high, and use software, right? So it's the same thing. You can't just have like this one rule, one size fits all. It's always like, what did I do last time? What's in my analytics? How did my analytics change? And then now what's the new course of action?
Okay. Andy says auto campaigns are phishing campaigns for keywords. They do have to be treated differently to manual campaigns where keywords can be treated separately. This is where I believe that lowering the bid negates cutting off the keyword in Amazon's eyes.
So yeah, I think that's where we're talking about in auto and broad and phrase. You can't lower the bid. Because if you do, then you're lowering the bids for all of the keywords in the auto or broader phrase instead of lowering the bids for that specific non-performing. Because you could have 10 keywords that are performing incredibly and then one that's doing really bad, and then you just want to negate that one. So yeah, I think that's what he meant.
Yeah. What is your ACOS benchmark?
So for me, I just use my profit margin. And so, like, if my profit margin is 50%, my benchmark is 50%, and I'm trying to get everything to 50%. However, if I notice that while doing that, my total ACOS is too high or my profits are still too low, I'll drop that benchmark down to 40% or 30%, and then kind of take it from there. So it's just a kind of a goal, and whatever goal you set, work towards that. If you notice that while working towards that it's not working out, lower some more. Or if you notice that it's too low, then push it up.
Do you always look at 30 days period?
No, I usually never look at the 30-day period. I always look at 7-day period, but I'll look at 30-day period for things like if I'm looking for keywords that I'm like, okay, what has not performed at all in like the last 30 days, and I'll find those keywords and say, okay, they haven't performed in the last 30 days. They spent too much money. It's probably not going to turn around anytime soon, right? If you're crazy seasonal, it's very different. Then act accordingly, right? Maybe lower the bids a lot, and then when your season's time, then increase the bids again, and then give it a fair chance during that season. But for me, I'm usually looking at the last 7 days data because I am making changes all the time, and so while I'm making those changes, I just want to look at, like, if I took the last 30 days data and I made on the first 7 days I made a change, 14 days I made a change, 21 days I made a change. I'm looking at 21 days of like kind of old data because I already made changes. So I usually just look at like the period of time since I last made that change.
How do you determine how much to cut down bids?
So this is a very it's an iterative process, and I usually try and cut it down anywhere between like 3 cents to no more than 15 cents. And again, it's an iterative process, which means it's exactly like when you go in the shower and you turn the hot water on and you put your hand in, and if it's too hot, you turn it a little bit, and you turn it back and forth until it's just right. It's the same thing because there's no exact calculation on the bids because we don't see everyone's bidding, and I can't see like, okay, I'm now above this person, and if I bid a little bit lower, I'm going to be under this person. We don't know. Maybe if I lower my bid by 5 cents, nothing happens. But if I lower it by 7 cents, I move to page 2, or I move from the top of page 1 to the middle of page 1. So that shift in movement is what causes it. So to answer the question, try, however far you are from your target. So if your ACOS is 60% and your target is 50, cut it down by 3 to 5 cents, just a little bit. If you have a $4 bid, cut it by 7 to 10 cents. So scale a little bit accordingly. But I usually will just cut by a little bit. If you're 80%, maybe cut by 10 cents if you're a dollar bid, or cut by 15 cents if you're a $3 bid, something like that. And the goal is just to cut a little bit, cut, just bit by bit until we hit that sweet spot. And the sweet spot's moving, so we're always trying to chase it by small changes.
Okay. And then Andy's saying, agreed, you lose control with a high level of automation.
Awesome.
I only saw sponsored products campaigns in your screen. Do you also use the others, brands, videos, display?
Yeah. So I use all of them. I guess, it didn't show up here. But one thing I use sponsored brand display and video for is protecting my brand. So definitely for all your branded terms and all of your ASIN protection, brand defense, use it there. The second case that I use it for is I'll test a couple of things. So if I have a keyword with a good ACOS, I'll try adding that placement in and see if I can get more sales, more sales, more new customers, right? Again, we want new sessions. We don't want the same person clicking twice, and see what happens there. Generally, though, I've seen that it cannibalizes it. So what I'll do is I'll find keywords where organically and sponsored, I'm not able to show up on page 1 or page 2 because maybe sponsored on page 1, I was not profitable. On page 2, I'm not profitable. Page 3, maybe I'm profitable. And organic, I'm just, I'm organically not there. And I'll try video, and I'll try sponsored brand, and I'll try display there. This way, maybe that placement didn't work, a different placement will work. So that's where I'm using sponsored brand display and video. And then, obviously sponsored display, you can retarget everyone who's visited your listing but hasn't converted. So definitely do that. I think you can also target everyone who's converted from you. So I have one where I'm targeting last, I think 180 days of people who converted. So, if they bought from me in the last 180 days, but they haven't bought from me, I'd like to target them. I'm also doing that with DSP, but this is if you don't have access to DSP.
Right. And what did you mean when you said you protect your brand using sponsored videos?
No, my brand name.
Your brand name.
So if someone types in MMA nutrition and you scroll down, there's the headline is my product, the top 4 are my products, and then the video is my product. So it's all my product as much as possible.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Amazing. So much to learn. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool. So guys, let us know if you have any more questions for Mina. We'll start wrapping up now. So Mimi saying, is it true that sales derived from sponsored brands and videos do not help in ranking?
I don't know. I'm not sure. No one really knows. It's Amazon, it's Amazon's algorithm. It's changing. We don't have anyone in the back that's telling us these answers. So I'm not sure. I haven't really kind of done this isolation where I found a keyword and I only launched sponsored brands and I monitored it. I would think that if anything has a keyword attached to it, so if you're launching sponsored video and sponsored video has a keyword attached to it, and then someone types in a keyword, clicks on your ad and converts, I wouldn't see why Amazon wouldn't want to give you the rank. However, I haven't really tested it and tracked it enough.
Got to go. Love you guys. Thanks for joining us, Andy. Okay, Marg, what else from you?
Any
Well, I think it's just, what you've sort of, I suppose, put out today is quite different from what we normally hear. So, to me now, I think I need to sit down and rewatch this 10 times and digest it slowly and work my way through it all. It's quite an interesting, I suppose, way.
Do you have a clearer vision at least, or did I confuse you?
No, I think
I sort of found it quite very enlightening. And you make it sound so easy, Mina.
Yeah, I know. That's why I need to watch it slowly.
Yeah.
But
Maybe we can take bite-sized pieces and share it. So it's
Yeah.
like Saturday or whatever, day one, do this piece.
Yeah.
Any
Any
tips
tips for cheap?
It's not a, I don't know. It's not a strategy. No tips. No tips for street. This is the best way to do PPC. Like, not the best, but it's a business. You're building a business. Like, let's say there's a cheap little hack, right? How much money is it going to make you? $10, $50, $100. It's not going to make you, millions of dollars in revenue. So focus on take your time, focus it on the mastery of PPC and building a system, as opposed to trying to find like any cheap tricks. There's no cheap tricks. Everyone in the world is getting on Amazon. After COVID hit, all the competitors from retail are coming on Amazon. So it's becoming very ruthless now.
Yeah. So Gail has been up all night waiting for this session.
Wow. I'm honored, Gail.
Mina, do you think with all the with all of the brands being bought up by the companies coming in now, that they're starting to sort of put big dollars into PPC as well?
No, because if you add them all up, they don't have even 1,000 brands combined, and there's 60,000. I think they just released 60,000 Amazon sellers made over $1 million in revenue last year. So if you add all the aggregators up, they don't even come to 1/60 of the Amazon. So I don't think they have enough. And then, dude, there's venture-backed brands that have been spending, like, I before the aggregators came about, I know brands that like kind of got funding, just regular venture capital. They're trying to expand and get on Amazon and off Amazon and into retail, and they were spending, I think they were losing like a couple $100,000 a month on Amazon in ads, just like running ads, because they're trying to gain market share. So I think the whole like spending a lot of money has been around for a while. I think the only thing the aggregators are doing is just they're doing it very well. Like they're doing PPC well, they're doing listing optimization well, they're doing everything well. But again, if we added up all the brands, I don't think they're even a 60th. Maybe they might make 1% of the entire Amazon population of people who are doing $1 million in revenue. So you have also everyone who did under $1 million in revenue, which could be another like a few 100,000 or more Amazon sellers. So I don't think it's there's enough aggregators to make an impact.
That's good to know. That's reassuring.
No, I mean, if even look at the original aggregators, like Unilever and Nestle, they haven't been able to make an impact, right, on the cost of stuff in the stores. So I don't think these aggregators are going to make a difference in the cost of advertising, right? Because there's just so many brands out there, and the aggregators own like just a small portion of it. I think what they're doing is a good job. Like they're bringing light to the industry, and they're making it a very big industry. So I mean, if it wasn't for them, valuations wouldn't be so good, and there wouldn't really be a business of like the buying and selling of Amazon brands. So I'm grateful for the aggregators. I don't think they're driving the cost per clicks up.
Good idea. Spread it out. I'm with Margaret. Watch it again and again. And maybe, Mark, we can have Mina come to the mastermind and do, shorter sessions and really do like a step-by-step, take it slow, step-by-step, and people can follow along. I think in a small group that might work.
It might be good for the next question, actually, how to set it up from the start, right?
Yeah. Any advice for new sellers like me who about to start the first listing and follow PPC launch? Bit concerned the budget will run out quickly without realizing it.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about your budget running out quickly, because again, you can always start at the bottom end of the bid. So you can launch 10, 15, 20 campaigns. So I would do the 4 auto campaigns, close match, loose match, complements, and substitutes. Get your top 5 keywords, let's say, put those in a broad phrase exact. So that's we're at 7 now, and then do a product targeting campaign, a category targeting campaign that's refined for products that are more expensive and 3 stars or less, and then a brand campaign. So that's 10 campaigns only, $100 each, and then start at the lower end of the bid, 70 cents, 60 cents, whatever. And then you'll notice that, oh, I only spent $10 today. It's okay. Where can we increase the bids? You increase the bids, and then you start getting your first conversion and your second conversion, and then you notice, okay, I'm spending $30, but I'm making 100. I'm spending 50, but I'm making 150, and so on and so forth.
Right. Gail says, yes, yes, please. So this is to the mastermind suggestion because Gail is in our mastermind. So I guess Mina will be in touch again.
Yes, I'm here for any PPC input and advice.
Yeah, well, I guess it's like the old days. You've got to speculate to accumulate, Mina. You know, if you don't speculate, you can't expect to accumulate, can you? You know?
Yeah. Cool. All right. Anything else, Mark, Kev, before we sign off?
No, I think that's been really good, really informative.
Yeah,
It's a bit of a different, I suppose, view. I think it's quite good.
Absolutely.
It's broken it down differently for people.
Awesome.
Right. Awesome. Well, so Mina, did you have an offer for people as well? Like, because you have a PPC course, right? Did you want to talk about the PPC course? And
yeah, sure. So for everyone here today, I'll give out $200 off for the PPC course. The course is a breakdown step by step, everything that I showed, over the shoulder, me doing it, explaining it, all in the campaign manager, in the Excel sheets, everything. And the code is India. So I thought it was a good code, right? Since it's from India.
And what is the PPC? What is the link?
The link
you put
is
put it in the
PPC
private chat.
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat so you can share it with everyone.
Yeah.
But it's the ppcuniversity.com. And then I'll put my email here. If anyone wants an audit, I'm giving away a few out for free. So like a full audit and kind of a strategy, just like I did this, but with other people's campaigns. Just email me, mina@triviumco.com. If you send me an email, say, sourcing from India audit, something like that. Yeah. So mention that, you came from sourcing from India, just so I know what we're talking about. And then, I'll pick a few people and I'll give them a full audit and, help them out.
Wait, so this is free? Or is
What do you mean, the audit?
Yeah, the audit.
Yeah, I'll pick a few people and do a free one. Why not? Right?
Okay.
Give back.
Okay, cool. So the first, how many? The first, how many to message
three.
you?
Let's say three.
3. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first 3 to message, to email Mina at this email address, he's going to do like a free PPC audit. That's cool.
Yeah.
Gail, Oksana, go for it.
All of March, I'm pretty much entirely out. I mean, I might be able to do a couple in March, but catch me before I head out to Prosper.
Yeah, March is going to be busy for everybody.
Everybody's partying.
In cases when one child listing is out of stock and video ad is running saying product currently unavailable, should we stop it?
Yes, stop it. If the video, if the product is out of stock and it says currently unavailable, immediately stop it. No one's gonna buy something that says currently unavailable. So no point at all.
Wasting.
Yeah, it's dangerous to kind of have that.
Is it a pre-recorded course or we get to chat with you and ask questions?
So both. So obviously all the videos are pre-recorded, but you can ask me, the first part of the course is you get in the course and then we're in a group chat, like me and you will get in a chat. And then as you go through the course, you can ask as many questions as you want.
Is it like a it's a group chat. So like Messenger?
No, it's a chat. It's a one-on-one chat.
Okay. So you have one-on-one chats with each person who has signed up for the course.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, it's just very easy. You send a question and I'll usually just send a voice note and answer it.
And is it for beginners, would you say? Or is it for slightly advanced or?
It goes from beginner all the way to it's not, if you're already very advanced, then no. But if you're kind of like beginner to intermediate, and you either don't know about PPC or you're doing PPC, but you think you can get better with the bulk sheets and the optimizations, the parameters and stuff like that, I definitely recommend it. It's not like it's just like an Excel course essentially. It's like a course that teaches all of the different pieces and the systems and the optimizations and stuff like that. It's once you take it, you kind of understand everything is going on in the campaign manager, and then you can make your own decisions. So that's the goal. Is not, I don't have a way to make you money, but I can teach you, all of the things that are in the campaign manager, and then you can say, okay, I'm going to test this. I know now where to look at the results. I know how to evaluate the results, and I know how to make new changes and how to continue that cycle and figure everything out.
But they still buy it, which is weird. This is out of stock items, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, but is it costing a lot of money on the ads? Like, if the ads are still profitable, okay, run it. But if the ads are not profitable, then don't run it. And it could be some subscribe and save people. I don't know. Usually, I've never had any luck if my stuff is out of stock. Even if it says in stock, like today's February 15th, it says in stock February 21st. Good luck. My conversion rate tanks.
Cool. Well, Mina, thank you so much for your time today. And it was a really good session, so much information, and I'm sure people will reach out to you. And we will talk again soon about bringing you to the mastermind as well. I think our mastermind members will really benefit from having this kind of step-by-step training. So yeah, thank you so much for your time.
I'm happy to join
today.
you guys. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mina.
Thanks a lot. And thanks everyone for joining us today. We will see you next week with a VIS show. We've got Virtual India Sourcing show coming up next week. And then the next MMK show will be in March. So we'll see you then. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.